Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, and with me as always,
Eric Icarus.
Eric.
What's up, Holmes?
You can find us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast. And that's about it.
That's about it,
That's
kids.
about it these days.
Don't even worry about it.
I'm constantly posting cool stuff from my collection on my personal account. Check that out. Eric sometimes posts clips from the show. You know, things
Once
that he
in a
likes.
while.
Once in a while, every now and again, he does that.
We'll get it back on that train for you.
How are you doing this week, my friend?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Feeling good. A lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of balls in the air. Okay.
Yeah, I know how it feels, man. A lot of fingers, a lot of pies.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I run in a lot of circles.
Yeah.
Some of them shady, some of them square.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Man, I got to tell you.
Yes, sir.
I was very, very excited this week when, at first it sounded like we were only going to get a Shang Chi poster reveal.
Right.
But then it started to kind of bubble that we might get a trailer drop finally.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know it, Marvel, the great Kevin Feige, hallowed be his name, has dropped us a Shang Chi trailer.
Yes.
Something new from the MCU.
Right. Uh-huh.
You know.
Yes.
While Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision have been fun.
Yes. This is,
I think,
what we wanted.
Yeah, they don't necessarily feel like they're moving the MCU forward. They're not, maybe lateral.
Maybe they're tying up loose ends for us.
Okay, yes.
I'd say that.
So I think it's nice to get some fresh ground.
Right, exactly.
And we are getting it with Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings or something.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. And oh my gosh. I was very excited because I didn't expect the trailer to drop. And what I like about it is that it's a big cast of people that I'm not super familiar with.
Right.
Outside of Awkwafina, Michelle.
Awkwafina.
Yeah, Awkwafina is going to be the looks like the female sidekick buddy.
Isn't that a water?
It is, but this is spelled phonetically, and she thinks it's cute.
Okay. I think it's cute too.
Does nothing for me, but
That's refreshing.
She's all, God dang it, you know it, but the trailer seemed super interesting. You know,
right.
we would play it for you, but they don't let us do that yet.
Sometimes we may have to do it sometime.
Yeah.
Just no sound. You can watch our faces.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, like you said, I don't know a lot of these actors.
Especially the lead, Simu Liu.
Yes, playing Mr. Shang-Chi.
Yeah, and he was in a convenience store show, Kim's Convenience or something like that. It was a like a comedy about Asian convenience store owner kind of thing. I never saw it. So I love that we've talked about this a lot on the show. When Marvel makes stars, I think it's the best.
Oh, big time.
So
yes, they are in the business of making stars.
Yes,
apparently.
Benedict Cumberbatch was arguably their biggest person that they kind of inherited.
Right, aside from RDJ.
Well, they kind of made RDJ.
He was established.
Remade him.
Yes, they did rebuild him.
Because remember, nobody wanted to insure him.
Yep, nobody did.
So Marvel reignited the RDJ love.
Yes, true.
Okay. And then ever since then, for a long time, we'd been kind of making some people, but with Brie Larson, with Benedict Cumberbatch, we were starting to have to bring in some names.
Yes.
So I like to see them kind of going back to their roots a little bit.
Right.
Now that they got a little bit of money in the bank. Because I'm going to be honest, I'm not overly familiar with Shang-Chi other than his appearances in other books that I've read.
Right.
So when he's in Heroes for Hire related stuff, especially when he's in Iron Fist, he's been in some Avengers things. Like, he's always a supporting character for me.
Yeah.
There was an interesting series that they did with, I think it was in the early 2000s, where it was a very like Bruce Lee feeling storyline on the Marvel Max title. They did a Cage one that was really interesting.
Yeah. Those were kind of very. I liked how those books did break down these characters.
Yeah, I mean, really put the street in the street here.
Yeah, totally.
It was like, oh, you guys like Marvel Knights? We've got something a little bit edgier.
Totally, and it was. And did you say Shang-Chi appeared in Special Marvel Edition number 15?
No, I did not say that. Yeah.
Okay, that's the first appearance.
Yes.
And I get what you mean by the whole Bruce Lee. It's basically just Bruce Lee.
It was Marvel wanting to capitalize on the popularity of that type of kung fu.
Sure.
Bruce Lee was getting big in the States, and they didn't have somebody like that.
Right.
So they wanted to kind of just capitalize on that. Guy's got no powers. He's just the master of kung fu.
Right. Well, doesn't DC have a sort of They're a kid called the Kung Fu Kid.
They have the Karate Kid.
Oh, the Karate.
Yeah, they have the Karate Kid. Yeah,
And that's kind of their
predates the movies. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
is he
he's a legion
basically
of superheroes.
Shang-Chi?
Better, like from the future. There's an excellent fight with Batman and the Karate Kid. He's actually being mind controlled by a Starro, and he's out there posing as this guy Trident.
Okay.
When they capture him, they realize, oh, there's a Starro on this guy, and when they run his blood, they're like, oh, in Clark's Kryptonian database, this is Karate Kid from the 31st century.
Oh wow!
And as they're like Batman and what's his face, Black Lightning are kind of like looking at this file.
Yeah.
And we can kind of see that the dude's getting up.
Oh,
in the background.
Yeah.
And Clark, Bruce is like, oh, he's like, Clark has this guy listed as a level 14 fighter. And Black Lightning's like, what does that mean? And as he says that, he gets like judo chopped on the neck. Crap. And Bruce throws up his arm. He's like, Clark has me listed as a 12. so like they have this like awesome fight, and we don't get to see all of it. It's just like we come back to that, and like Bruce's mask is like ripped partly off.
Yeah.
Karate Kid has his tool belt around him, and like they're both like, you can tell like the fight's really good.
Oh, they didn't give it to us.
They didn't give us the whole thing.
We can fill it in though.
Yeah, but yes, it's rare that we go on a DC tangent in the middle of the Marvel.
I like
thing.
it. It's refreshing to me.
Yes,
man.
so DC gets their love here, but the Shang-Chi trailer was interesting, and because I'm not as familiar with his origins, like I know his origins, but this is already very different. We're seeing what appears to be there's some narration of whom Shang-Chi's father saying, I've given you 10 years of just kind of a normal life, and he's like being called home. As this father is saying this
from Kung Lao,
we are we're seeing him like, he's like a dishwasher, and he's like singing karaoke with his buddy, and he's just like living like a normal life,
right?
And you can tell like whatever he's been doing, we're also seeing a lot of flashbacks of him like training, like a lot of training montages where the voiceover is like, I trained you to be the most deadly man on the planet, basically. Right. And basically it's time to come home.
Yeah. This is, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm gonna unapologetically say it. This is the Iron Fist we should have gotten.
That's what I'm
not
hearing.
The one we deserved.
Yeah.
But,
this is what a lot of people are saying to me, and I do think that they're going to be a little bit more successful. And unfortunately, it'll probably hurt them on an Iron Fist reboot.
Oh yeah, big time, because this is the tale of a martial arts master coming, a fish out of water, almost reversed though in a way.
Yes, yeah, like they flipped the Iron Fist thing, which I love. I didn't see that coming
because in the Iron Fist lore, Danny Rand is his plane goes down in Kunlun.
Yeah. Well, he goes down in the
Himalayas,
and then he finds the city of Kunlun,
and then they just take him in as one of their own, and he trains to be the Iron Fist. And it seems like in Shang-Chi, he's allowed to leave where he's from and then kind of figure this out.
It's like a breaking Amish thing, like, hey, go be wild, but like, it's time to come back to the family business, which appears to be a version of the Mandarin. And in the comics,
the Mandarin's his dad.
That's what it appears. I don't know. In the comics, it's not his dad.
What's the family business?
The family business.
Don't say laundromat.
Yeah. It's a whole bunch of nail salons. Okay. It just seems like, oh hey, you've got to come home. I don't know what their family business is. As far as I know, Shang-Chi and the Mandarin are not blood relatives. Or anything like that.
Maybe the dad's saying come back to stop Mandarin, maybe?
No, I think the dad is the Mandarin.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that this character is the Mandarin. He looks kind of like Ben Kingsley a little bit. Like, you can tell Ben Kingsley's character, that the Mandarin's a myth, based it off of this look.
Right.
It looks great, and I think it looks awesome. And we see a guy who I assume, again, is the Mandarin, where he's got 10 rings, which my wife put on each forearm, which my wife pointed out to me, wouldn't that just be bracelets? In the comic books, the Mandarin has 10 rings on each finger, and they're like alien tech, and they kind of all do like elements,
right?
Some laser, they're all just like a bunch of different powers,
right?
And he's primarily an Iron Man villain, which is fun because for those that might not remember, in Iron Man 1, way back in 2008. When Tony gets abducted by those Middle Eastern guys, they're part of the 10 rings.
Yes.
And that symbol is the same symbol that we are seeing behind this new Mandarin character.
Right.
So, I mean, that's crazy that we're finally going to get like the real
There's
payoff.
a payoff. And like you said, it was prevalent in all those Iron Man movies. Even in the third one where, it culminates in this sort of red herring where we get Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin.
Yes.
And it turns out he's Trevor, not the Mandarin. But we get this kind of, what do they call it? Marvel one-shot in the MCU.
Yeah, and, it was awesome. It was
spoilers,
it was
but
it was the extra, like a bonus feature they used to do for the like phase 1 and phase 2 stuff.
I think they did this particular one out of the outrage a lot of fans felt.
Yeah.
A lot of fans felt cheated because they didn't actually get the real Mandarin in this movie. So, in this Marvel one-shot, they find Trevor, aka Mandarin, in the prison, right?
Yeah,
and
there's like a documentary crew filming about his story about pretending to have been the Mandarin.
Right.
He's kind of like a big deal in prison.
Right.
People are like always having him do the Mandarin accent and everything. And this film crew, again, spoilers, turns out that they like represent the real Mandarin.
The real one, yeah.
And they're none too pleased that he like used the image.
Yes.
So they like take him. So it is super.
That's kind of how Disney deals with their copyright claims too, actually.
Right. So this was like something that they did on this as a bonus feature. That's so like I've told people about this so many times, and it's totally worth watching. On those first few MCU movies, everything on Phase 1, I think everything has a Marvel one shot. There's a great Agent Carter one. There's some Coulson ones.
Yeah.
Like they're worth a look.
Something or other.
Huh?
Item
47 is one where like Coulson shows up at the end.
Yeah, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know why they don't do them anymore.
Just because nobody's watching them.
Because they're so great. They put a lot of work into them.
They do. Like they're high. I mean, and the Agent Carter one was so good it gave her a TV show.
Right.
So,
but back to the Mandarin in the MCU, the one we get now. He has these bands, and I don't know where they're gonna go with this.
Yeah.
Traditionally, is Mandarin a Shang-Chi villain?
No, traditionally he's an Iron Man villain. I believe his first appearance is in an Iron Man book and is constantly going... They later kind of incorporate him on because it makes so much sense to have him be an Iron Fist, to be a Shang-Chi, crossover, very much like how Spider-Man and Daredevil share.
Sure. Tales of Suspense number 50.
Yeah.
That's Mandarin's first.
Yes, and that was the... Tales of Suspense was the Iron Man main title until it became Invincible Iron.
Yeah.
And we see a Death Dealer guy in a kind of a faux kabuki mask, and then we also see Razor Fist.
Yes,
remember Razor Fist always had the most dumb Marvel trading card because he's literally a dude who doesn't have hands, but instead has blades.
I thought his name was Slice.
Oh, that might be Slice. That actually, yeah, you're right. That is Slice. I'm thinking of Slice. Razor Fist is very much the same thing.
Yeah.
But Slice is the image I have in my head. Yeah, good capture.
It looks like, because I only remember him from the Marvel trading card set.
Yeah.
Where it was the one where they all made one picture, and it looked like he's slicing the moon the way the cards were separated. Yeah. But Slice, lame.
Yes, and Razor Fist looks a lot like that. That's who I had in my head. Right. So I'm thank you.
Anyway, Slice is lame,
but Razor Fist is very much the same type of character.
Awesome name.
Seems like there may be some type of tournament going on, which is always cool.
Kumite.
Something that we could have used in Iron Fist.
I think a lot of this should have been used in Iron Fist.
Yes.
Did you ever finish Iron Fist?
I never watched season 2
or 3.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I think I only got.
I don't think it got 3.
Yeah, it got a very short season 2, and it wasn't bad.
I think Daredevil was the only one that got 3 seasons.
No, I think Jessica Jones got 3.
I don't think so.
Positive.
I'm gonna check
keep going.
So I guess the big question though is the character the Mandarin. I believe it is because we see the 10 rings, or maybe if you're a part of the 10 rings, that's just your look. Because I looked on the IMDb and they didn't give Tony Leung is playing the character and it didn't say, and there's very few people actually listed on the IMDb.
Right.
So Marvel keeps things close to the vest. But the 10 rings have been around for a while.
Right.
I'm very excited. I'm not super familiar with the director, Destin Daniel.
3 seasons.
Jessica Jones had 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
I didn't even watch season 2. So,
dang! Well, you weren't missing much.
Yeah. But Destin Daniel Cretton, I believe, is the director. His most notable thing that I recognized was Glass Castle, which came out in 2017. It had Brie Larson, Woody Allen, but I hadn't seen the movie, so
Right.
the guy doesn't have a huge thing of bona fides. But again, that's very
Right.
much a Marvel thing.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna take somebody who's got some decent credits, but
Mhm.
has room to grow, and a bunch of people are either I'm only finding people really excited, or I feel like I've seen this before. And I'll be honest, I feel like I've seen this movie.
I think
before
we
as
have
well.
seen this before.
We've seen this type of film before.
Absolutely.
But we've never
Nothing
seen it
wrong
in the
with that.
MCU. We've never seen it in the MCU.
Right.
It's going to be really cool if they set up Shang-Chi. Like the Kung Fu looks very hard hitting.
Yes.
And if we just have somebody who is just like, like when Captain America's fighting Loki, and it's not like his stuff is really doing it, but he's definitely not, useless against Loki.
Sure.
It'll be cool if like Shang-Chi, he can't fight Loki at all,
Right.
but maybe he can't get hit by Loki.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know,
I think that seems to be his power in the comic books, that he's just so well trained. He can go toe to toe with supervillains, but
he feels a little
on a defensive level.
He feels a little taskmastery at times, just because of how he feels a little super soldiery. Same thing with Cap. How they can mimic things.
Yeah.
But I thought the trailer was fun. Give me more. Give me a new chapter of the Marvel universe. I had always said, so for me, the things that have been missing had been magic, martial arts, and cosmic. Now we got the cosmic in spades, so now we're getting more magic. Definitely some fisticuffs.
And I think what's cool about this is I feel like Shang-Chi is kind of rectifying a lot of the mistakes that they thought, public at large thought they were made with Iron Fist, where the appropriation thing comes in. Which I mean, granted, it's part of the story about Danny Rand and whatevs, but I mean, I feel like they're really taking care, a lot of care with this as far as consulting, real kung fu people and the culture aspect to it. I think it looks great.
It doesn't it always bothered me when people talk about the cultural appropriation stuff with Iron Fist, because the story follows a white guy who it's the source material.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me. And you guys got to remember too, in the 70s, who's reading comics, who's the audience they're trying to get. You're trying to see yourself in that character.
Sure.
So everybody's seeing Bruce Lee, and the Bruce Lee thing's not creating. The Shang-Chi books aren't going over the moon or anything like that.
No.
But the Iron Fist books did really well for a while.
They did.
So you get the chance to see yourself. It is that reverse kind of appropriate representation thing mattering. Because at least you got white kids involved into it to boost sales, but then it was like, oh, we're pushing the Eastern philosophy.
Right. I don't think it was offensive on any level.
No, it was definitely never meant. And I mean, I remember Stan Lee was talking about when he made Daredevil how he was worried that the blind community wasn't going to like it, because they were going to be like, oh, he's blind, but he can see.
Or that you're making a book based on visuals, and we're not allowed. We cannot see this. And
it wasn't even. No, it wasn't that. He was worried that they were going to be like, oh, he's blind, but he can still see. He's not actually blind.
Right. Well,
the way it did resonate well.
It did, because I think the way Stan explained Daredevil's powers were initially that it was more like, oh, he hears where things are. Yeah. It's not. I don't think he had the radar sense and vision.
Yeah, I think it comes up later.
Yeah, I think that comes up way later. Which I guess it takes away the whole aspect of him being blind makes but whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, it I guess it brought some awareness, and even if it didn't bring awareness, it brought it just brought people.
Well, you just had the foresight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I could. Yeah. If you're gonna look at the camera, you gotta take your glasses off. Okay. We don't know what you're doing if you don't take the glasses off.
But I don't know. I think in light of what's happening in culture with the Asian community, maybe this is the right time for it.
It's great. It almost it almost feels like viral marketing. Disney's got the weird pull that way where they could it feels weird. It feels conspiracy like, because obviously they're having the hashtag Stop Asian Hate stuff, and
right.
the unspeakable things that are happening to certain members of the Asian community. Very odd that we're getting a
Asian-driven movie.
And I know it was always the plan, but
always, the Shang-Chi was announced 4 or 5 years ago.
Maybe not quite that long, but definitely
a long time ago.
Years,
I remember it being announced with the Inhumans movie that was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I'm excited, but again, I think Marvel. I think a lot of time has cooled off.
Yeah.
And some of the fervor is dying down, and these are not recognizable characters anymore.
Yeah.
People, there was a time Marvel put some out and people got stoked. Now it's kind of like, Eternals, Shang Chi.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what's going on? Like,
I'll be
I don't know
interested
who these are.
I'll be interested to see if the Asian community shows up the way that the African American and the Black community showed up for Black Panther.
Sure.
Because I mean, what drove the sales was again repeat customers.
Right.
I mean, does this? It's always kind of this unspoken thing in the movie industry that they try to make films that'll work well in China.
Well, I mean,
what else is going to work better in China for Marvel than this?
Right, because Kung Fu is a Chinese-based martial art.
Okay. Yes. So, and I mean, you have an all Chinese cast. Well, or, predominantly Chinese cast. I don't know if everybody is going to be strictly Chinese, but seems like most of the people are.
I cannot wait for the Agents of Atlas spinoff.
I mean,
it could happen.
It very much could happen. It very much could happen. Again, with the climate, it works. It makes sense from a business standpoint.
Sure, I mean, okay.
And if you think a company like Disney's not going to try to capitalize on what's happening
Disney,
topically,
business like Disney, they don't see color. They do. They see green.
Yes,
everybody. They don't care what color you are. They're just hey, that'll make money.
Yeah, they're happy that that was their whole thing when they bought Marvel. Like, we want to appeal to boys. We want to appeal to more people,
right?
Because they had the girl market.
down. The princess part.
Princess market down.
Crazy enough, I feel like Disney/Marvel has broadened not just boys. I feel like there's just as many women and girls who love comic books,
and I think that was an unintended side effect. I think they were like, oh wait, Gamora and Captain Marvel and Nebula, like Mantis. People like these characters a lot.
Natasha,
you're going to see. But they were already around. Like, those are the ones that
that was the ones that came after.
It's like one of those things. Like, you didn't think that was going to hit,
right?
And it hit. Like, I never, even in action figure collecting, like, I'm always buying the female figures more because
there was a point.
They're rarer. They're just like they don't do female characters as much.
You remember when they did a Rogue back in the old school Toy Biz one? Like, that was a big deal.
Yeah, you had Storm, you had Rogue, you had a Phoenix. Like, they didn't do many girls.
No, they really didn't
in those first couple waves.
And that's all we wanted.
Yeah, and in the first wave of those X-Men toys, it was just Storm.
Yep.
Storm and 5 dudes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see what the Shang-Chi brings. I mean, you got to be stoked.
I'm very stoked. Yeah, I love good martial arts stuff. The hitting, it seems like it's hard hitting.
Yeah.
And even though it feels like I've seen this story, I've not seen this story in the MCU, so I'm down.
Right.
I'm down.
And we finally get the Mandarin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've all been wanting that for a minute.
I saw a hilarious meme that was like, Marvel introduces the first Chinese superhero, and then like it had a picture of Wong, and it was like sad Wong noises. Yeah, it's like, dude, you a manservant, all right?
I mean, he kind of is in the comic books. That's what he's named in the comic books, right? He's Wong the manservant.
Right? Like, this is my manservant, Wong. This is my male madam, all right? But
Wong, man, just Wong.
It's just good. Yeah, if 2 Wongs don't make a white, it's gonna be good. I'm excited. We'll see.
We'll see what
September,
the future brings.
September, man.
Oh,
I'm excited. I just want to see. We're gonna get Black Widow maybe, and then
maybe
this,
we'll see.
Maybe Eternals. I don't know if they moved Eternals till next year.
I don't
think
it's
imagine
happening.
they're gonna have 4 this year.
I don't think Maybe we deserve it.
I think we
deserve
I think
this.
we do. But we'll see.
I mean, but you're kind of giving us 3. Take a leap of faith characters here.
No, because franchise. Oh yeah. If they do, if it is Eternals, because Spider-Man's gonna be out in December.
Sure.
So, but yeah, if you're right, three Guardians of the Galaxies basically. So
it's a gamble.
It is, but I totally trust Marvel. Big Tuna wasn't impressed with the trailer. I'm totally into it. Totally into it.
I think it'll be good. We'll see.
We had episode 5 of The Winter Soldier. And I have lots to say.
Sure.
We have lots of notes, and I'm going to save some. I have some negative things finally, but we'll get to that towards the end. What did you think of the fight? Spoilers, kids. Between John, Sam, and Bucky.
It was exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It was good. No, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I think we called it, didn't we, in the last episode? Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. It's good.
It was good. It was, I felt like John was kind of hanging a little bit better than I thought he would.
No, that's what I thought it was going to be because, dude, he's juiced.
Yeah.
His reflexes are probably moving a little bit more,
Yeah.
you know? And you gotta remember, like, Bucky had training, obviously, but, you know, John has training too.
Yeah.
More updated training. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a little more heightened.
And you have to, yes, and then you have to assume that if you're, again, I keep talking about the Vita rays, if you're going to take out if you're going to modify it to take out the Vita ray process, maybe it's just a better version of the serum in terms of like what it athletically does.
Right, more concentrated.
Yeah.
Maybe your joints are moving, muscle memory's a little bit better. I don't know. But it was cool.
It was a kind of a cool callback. It had a lot of the same feeling of when Cap and Bucky were fighting Iron Man.
Right.
There was a lot of cool parallels there, seeing Sam and Bucky fight John. I just really like how fractured John seems. His them basically breaking his arm to get the shield off.
Yeah.
And he kind of has this court-martial, or not court-martial. They're discharging him, but but it's like everything about it felt very much like the Star Wars prequel. It's like, man, are you guys trying to make this guy Darth Vader? Like, are you guys trying to make this like you're gonna be discharged but not honorably? You won't get any benefit.
Right.
It's like they're really pushing this guy to do something bad.
Exactly. After he had given essentially his life to the U.S. government.
Yeah.
You know, he went out in the field with the adopted mantle of Captain America with no powers.
Yeah.
And did what he could. And got no respect.
I
tell you, he gets no respect at all.
And nowhere God either. It was interesting to see him go visit Lamar's family and be like, oh, I killed the guy who killed him, even though he didn't. It's like, dude, you're such a piece of crap. Like, you've become such a piece of crap. Like, there was a point where I was like, oh, your heart's in the right place, but at that point, like,
are you talking about Bucky? Or
no, John. He goes to see when John goes to see Lamar's family.
Right. Yeah.
Now there was this rumor all week about this major cameo. They were talking about it like, oh, it's going to be big. It's going to be, obviously everybody was like, oh, it's going to be old Steve Rogers. Who's it going to be? Ended up being Julia Louis-Dreyfus, fantastic actress.
I like her.
And she says, in great lengths, she is Valerie Allegra de Fontaine. Actually, Contessa Valerie Allegra de Fontaine. You can call me Val. And I gotta say, Eric, this is the first time ever I had to look up somebody.
I didn't know
Dude, I had no idea.
I literally looked at the person I was watching it with. I'm like, who the F is that?
Yeah. I'm not familiar with this character at all. It was supposed to be this big deal.
Yeah. And you can literally hear everyone in the United States going, huh?
Yeah.
I bet you the hardest core Marvel nerd was probably like, what? Like, it didn't... Who cares?
Because you had to have been a really big Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Jim Stranko Marvel fan. Love Jim Stranko. He's got some excellent X-Men runs. He was a big part of this psychedelic movement. If you see him today, he's got this full head of silver hair, which may be a wig. I don't know. But he's so Hollywood. He's got tan skin, big glasses, big silver hair. Like, he is a Hollywood is Hollywood artist.
Yeah, with you just need the cigar.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, I'm surprised. Like, if he showed up in a fur, like, it wouldn't shock me at all. Like, Stranko looks great and crazy and awesome, and that he still parties. Like, he looks like he still gets down. But yeah, she's a character from the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. run, which I'm not familiar with myself. I recognize the images, but the character, I have no familiarity with Val. But the rumor is that she will also be in Black Widow.
Okay.
So if this begs the question, will she be... will they use her for something with the Thunderbolts? Will they use her for the Dark Avengers?
Makes sense.
Because she's kind of...
So what's her deal?
So she's kind of telling... Well, she's a secret agent in the
comic. She like a Maria Hill type?
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, she's just kind of another spy. So they're just embellishing the character.
Okay.
Again, I'm not familiar with her other than the cursory research I did after I discovered who this character was. But she's telling John that, hey, there's some gray area. I don't know what she's referring to, but it would be interesting if she's puts together...
I got gray in my ledger.
Yeah. You kids know. So it'll be interesting if she's forming a team. She gets, somebody like, oh, hey, you can be the Captain America on this team.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, because, that's what the Dark Avengers essentially were, right?
More or less.
Because, you had Norman Osborn.
As Iron Patriot.
Right,
yeah.
and then he recruits maybe reformed supervillains to take up superhero mantles.
Yeah.
He has Bullseye take up the Hawkeye mantle.
Yeah.
And Venom is the Spider-Man de facto, right? And then,
yeah.
What's Wolverine's son's name?
Dakin
takes up the Wolverine mantle.
Moonstone becomes kind of like the Miss Marvel.
Right.
Radioactive
Man. Oh, Ares
is on the team, kind of the Thor. The Sentry is there as well.
He's kind of the enforcer.
Yeah. Radioactive Man from On Loan from
Up
China.
in Adam.
Yeah,
On
not that
from
one.
China.
Yeah, from On Loan from China. He's a radioactive man from China. His name is Chen something or other. And yeah, Norman puts together this team. I would start buying Dark Avengers #1s. They're kind of in that $15 to $20 range right now. It just feels like it's time to pick them up. It may have already been time. I don't know what the ceiling is on a book like this. The Thunderbolts first appearances are kind of in that $120 range right now, and it's an Incredible Hulk book. Eric, could you pull that up real quick?
Sure.
Just see, it's just Thunderbolts first appearance. It's in an Incredible Hulk book. Those ones, I think that they're like, for a good flip, they're not great right now because they're not cheap, but I do think that they can go up, especially if we're going to do Thunderbolts with Zemo and Bucky and, any of these other characters. So those two books would be worth checking out. For me,
Incredible Hulk $4.49.
$4.49. So those will be worth getting if you can find them for a good price. But for me, for my money, that Dark Avengers #1 is probably your best bet at like a good investment book right now.
I think this could lead to another awesome cameo, though. We get Julia Louise-Dreyfus, right, from Seinfeld thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, what if... And Veep, of course, which is a great show. I love Veep.
She got Emmys for Veep.
Yeah, Veep is pretty amazing, but... I think we round this out, and I think her boss needs to be a pretty big character, and it's Michael Richards. Kramer himself.
Kramer's never going to be in anything Disney. Yeah.
Well, why not?
Yeah, because of his
stand-up act is hilarious, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's pretty funny.
Distaste for the African American community.
Hey, let's give Kramer a break.
Yeah.
Even Dave Chappelle said...
Nope, I'm not letting you do that here. There was an interesting thing with Zemo and the Wakandans, and I wanted to see if you picked this up. So Zemo gets away, and he visits the Sokovian memorial.
Right.
And
that part was awesome.
Bucky finds him there. Zemo. It feels again. There's another parallel to when Zemo and T'Challa were having their talk, and the living aren't dead with you already or done with you yet.
Yes.
And it felt like Bucky might kill him, and Zemo seemed like he was ready to die because he's not trying to get caught by the Wakandans.
No.
He does, again, spoilers, does not kill him and lets the Wakandans take him.
Right.
I thought it was very, very strange that the Wakandans were taking him to the raft.
Right. That threw me off too, but why?
Why say that? Because you didn't have to say you were taking him anywhere. I would have just
assumed you were taking him to Wakandan jail.
Yes.
Or prison there. Or having him, whatever.
Are these Wakandan Skrulls? And are they taking him because they're working with Fury? And Fury is... I'm having a lot of Thunderbolts-related things.
Because it seems like that's where they're going.
Yes.
Especially with, this whole series has been alluding to it.
Because there's a version of this where the Secret Invasion show that's going to be coming out, there's a version of this where this small group of Skrulls are helping Nick Fury because the bigger sects of Skrulls have infiltrated the American government.
Right.
There was a rumor today that, oh my God, what is the actress that plays Daenerys Targaryen in Game of Thrones?
Oh, I always forget it.
Yeah.
But, Daenerys
from Game of Thrones, that she has been cast in Secret Invasion. How is she not the Skrull Queen?
She's got to be.
Yeah, how is she not the Skrull Queen? So we're setting up some interesting stuff there. Get your Secret Invasion books.
Get
your Secret Invasion
that is
books.
A very amazing catch, because I didn't even think that.
So I think the Skrull thing might be a little crazy, but why say that they're the raft? Or taking to the raft.
When he clearly needs to go to Wakanda.
Yeah,
face some justice.
Yeah, it seemed like they were like, oh, we're taking him to Wakanda. Like, why would they take him to?
Yeah,
he was already in a gulag.
Right.
Or if you're taking him to the raft, are you taking him there because again, Thunderbolt Ross is there,
right?
And so he's putting the Thunderbolts together. Again, I have a lot of Thunderbolts related starting
and
because of all the players,
and that's great, man.
Because the players are the same. All right,
the game stays the same.
God,
it's crazy going back to the fight though. Even like bleeding into the episode before, but you do bring up the parallel between the Civil War fight with Bucky and Cap fighting Tony.
Yeah.
The scene in the episode previous with John killing that man with his shield like this. Cap essentially almost does the same thing to Tony.
Yeah.
He has the shield, it kind of almost verbatim, but doesn't bring the shield down on Tony.
Yeah.
I think that right there for me shows exactly who these two guys are.
Yeah. John went for the death blow against the guy who's not guilty.
Exactly.
Tony went for the disarm on his friend.
Yeah, exactly. Steve.
Or I'm sorry, Steve went for the disarm on his friend.
Right.
I
can think of the fight. It's an amazing parallel.
Yes.
I think it's great. That scene was awesome, but then of course the memorial scene. That just this show has got the quiet moments are my favorite moments.
Yeah.
I think that's just every show for me is just the quieter moments. What's his first name? Brule?
Daniel Brule.
Yeah, just really killing
it. Yeah,
that scene was heartbreaking.
And I don't know if you've seen any interviews with him lately. The dude seems really jacked to be the character. It wouldn't shock me if they're like we're definitely not done with Daniel.
Yeah, what would they say to him? Like, oh, that Marvel's not done with you. I tried to work it in there, but I couldn't do it.
It's
he's all trying to kill himself.
Yeah,
It's Kevin Feige's like, it's like the mouse is not done.
I did think that it was interesting that Bucky said that Steve and Bucky chose to give Sam the shield.
It was a group decision.
Not even that it was a group, but he was like Steve told him about it.
Right.
So that's why he lets him go. Like it was always that. Yeah, because it was such a weird scene.
It was because even Bucky gives him the.
Like the duck lips, of approval, duck lips of approval.
And it's, good thing that they didn't cast Michael Richards as Bucky because he would have said no.
Is Sharon the power broker?
Well, how can she not be? Dude?
It feels like
really,
she is.
But that's a cool thing. This could be this whole misdirect.
Yeah.
That we're getting, and then we think, oh my God, Sharon's changed, and she's turned into this, and it's taking our attention off something. It's probably right in front of us.
Yeah.
But how can we not think that? Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe they're just leading us to believe that's what they want us to see.
It would be pretty crazy to have her be a villain.
Right. It would be a good character development. Yeah. I can actually kind of see it because what did they really do with her character? I felt like they did kind of set her up. They were setting her up to be Steve's love interest, and it kind of just doesn't happen.
It just fizzles out.
It just kind of doesn't go anywhere.
Shield is done.
Yeah.
So she can't be Agent 13 anymore.
Right.
So, what is she useful for? Now, is she just going to be like, hey, I'm the power broker. Like, I was trying to get these samples to destroy or whatever.
She could say that.
But, she's like their seedy... dealer with a heart of gold kind of thing. The world, the world turned on me. I'll help you guys when you need it, but I'm also doing dirt because I'm in Madripoor.
Right. I was about to say,
she's just kind of a gangster herself.
Right.
Know?
Which I would like both of those stories.
Mm-hmm.
Either way they want to go with it, but this, we were saying earlier, like this, maybe this is more of an ancillary tale. Like it's not opening up new pathways to the MCU, but now that we're bringing all this up, I think it's opening up a lot of pathways.
We're opening windows and doors.
Yeah,
and everything
we're getting old heroes becoming new villains getting redemption. There's a lot of going on here, man.
Our boy Torres, who we think is throwing Sam bedroom eyes.
Yes.
I believe his character in the comics becomes Falcon later.
Oh, okay.
And as Sam is leaving after John ripped his wings off, and he tells Torres, "Oh, keep the wings." You're like, "What are you doing?" Because Bucky brings him something from Wakanda, so he's going to get some vibranium wings, which I believe are going to be the Cap colored.
Oh yeah, the ones we know from
the red, white, and blue
yeah.
from Captain America 25
Yeah.
volume 5 or whatever that volume is. And so as we get a new, I think it's all but evident that Sam will be Captain America, or at least because of that conversation he has with Isaiah, which I thought was good.
It was cool.
I liked the conversation. We're gonna get to some negatives here in a second, but I did like that he goes to visit Isaiah to get a little bit more clarification, and like, hey man, like we got to share your story. And he's like, yo, like the world thinks I'm dead. If you think this shield means anything more than like, basically being a weapon of oppression, like he even says like no self-respecting black man would wear this,
right,
would represent this. So I think Sam is taking that as
right. But again, the show asking questions to the viewer.
Yeah.
Obviously Sam, a soldier.
Yeah.
Fought in the American military, and Isaiah being a product of what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you're cast aside because of who you are.
Yes,
you do tend to see the world a little different.
And I mean, you get that very big, again, and more parallels to other Captain America stuff, where Isaiah busts out, goes against orders and saves a bunch of his fellow black soldiers,
mm-hmm.
and then is put in prison for it. Whereas Steve does the exact same thing.
Right. That's what
is a hero.
It's asking a lot of cool questions.
Yes,
man.
like again,
not even cool. It's asking thought-provoking questions.
Yes,
and again, this is coming from a show with a guy with a robot arm.
Yes.
And to people that really believe that these shows based on comic books are not thought-provoking or at all provocative, you're stupid.
Yeah,
you're very stupid.
I feel bad for you.
Short-sighted.
You're not letting yourself enjoy this. Yes, there is that. I can get it from some artistic people and some people who think themselves big thinkers. They don't like to be spoon-fed some of this stuff, but
it's
like,
not. I don't even see it being spoon-fed.
I don't either.
I think it's based on something that happened in the comic book,
yes.
and I'm sure they were asking those questions in the comic book, with Isaiah's character.
Yeah.
And, of course you're going to get some of these, right-wing YouTube chuds spouting off like, oh, it's getting all woke and liberal. It's like, but that's not your perspective on the world.
Dude, and Marvel's always been woke and liberal.
Been woke and liberal.
The mutants are
I learned tolerance from X-Men. I learned how to control my anger through the Hulk.
Did the first black superhero, first Chinese superhero. They've been trying to get ahead of this thing. Now, maybe, with the right intentions, but always for the greenbacks. But knowing we're going to do some good and make some money.
Right. You can do both, why not?
Yeah, exactly. So Marvel has, and that's something I would like to say to your dad, because he's always, as upset with his lady Thor, just because he...
he grew up with the dude, and he doesn't see it as... he always doesn't see it as necessary.
Yes.
But I'm like, Dad, did you read the book, though?
Yeah.
Because if you read the book, you would say, oh, that's why they did it.
Well, I bought the album.
But did you read it? Listen to it.
It's... a bunch of that Mighty Thor stuff did not start out well.
No,
it lost a lot of people, but it ended strong. It did end strong.
Right.
Jason Aaron's great writer. But Marvel's always been this way.
Yeah,
this is very much in the Marvel. It's just they started it, ran its course, and they're like, oh, there are new things in society that we have to look at, and our previous handling of the black community isn't exactly reflective of what's going on in today's world.
Right, just like I could even make a parallel to our country.
Yeah.
Things with a lot of cultures and races have not been handled well.
Yeah.
But it doesn't reflect who we are now. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think a lot of us tend to see things a little bit different.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, there are people from the past who are still around who see things how it is back then.
So I think this is Marvel's attempt to try to do some good with their platform again.
Why not? Yeah.
And also make money. That is what they do.
That's what we're all here for, kids. Make that money.
I will say...
Yeah. Oh, are we getting the negatives?
This was my least favorite episode of the series.
Wow.
Even though it did a lot of cool stuff.
Okay.
Because it was shot and cut.
It was weird.
The
editing...
It was bad.
I think a lot of these episodes are weird. The editing is very weird.
And somebody else brought that up to me, and I was like, oh, I don't see it. And then I watched episode 5, and I was like, ugh. Dude, I don't
rewatch the last one, too, and you're like,
I don't give a damn about this boat. Like, the boat storyline means nothing to me, and they're spending so much time there. Like, it's clearly, obviously, only going to lead to the fact that they don't want you to forget that the boat's there, because obviously Carly, because there was barely any Carly reference in this episode. Carly's obviously going to show up there to provoke Sam or do whatever. Right. So they're just like, oh, don't forget about the boat, guys. Remember that? The boat matters, because watch the Flag Smashers destroy the boat or whatever it is. Like, now they've done a good job of not doing exactly what I think they're going to do.
Right.
But I would say that John Walker taking the super soldier serum, we all saw that coming, and they didn't do it in a cool way.
No, it was but I liked it. I kind of dug it.
Yeah.
I kind of dug how it wasn't
I liked how selfish it
That's
felt.
what I mean. Yeah. Very selfish and not over dramatized. Like, oh, hey!
Yeah.
Like,
because I think we were trying to be like, oh, he's going to do it for the wrong thing for the right reason.
Sure.
But in this, it was just selfish.
I know John Walker.
Yeah. And
the comic book character.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where we spent way too much time on this boat. The pacing is weird.
Yeah.
The edits were weird.
Yes.
I do think it's really funny how, like, Bucky is, like, flirting with, it seems like he has something going on with Io a little bit. Sure. And then he's kind of flirting with Sam's sister. And I think it's really funny because Bucky grew up, like, in the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah.
Where that was, like, forbidden. And now he's just, like,
hey,
all
man, this
swirled
is really
out. Yeah, he's just, like, all about it. He's like, hey. I think it's super funny.
I love it.
Like, he got to live with O'Connor and he's like, oh, I am growing up in the right time.
Is that right? Sometimes it's good to be single, man.
Yes.
Really.
It's just it's interesting. Even the Asian woman that he was on a date with, like, he's just like, no white chicks. Like, I'm all about.
He's really diversifying.
He is diversifying,
and I gotta hand it to him, man.
Yeah,
me and Bucky are on the same page.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you do have a machine for a left arm. Oh my god. The thing that cracked me up, though, was, and I thought it was a very fun line where, I can't remember what the setup was, but there was a moment where Bucky could have just used his, like, left arm to do something, his robot arm.
Right.
And Bucky says, he's like, well, I don't always think about it like that. He's like, I'm actually right-handed. And it's I was like, that's hilarious. That's cool. Hilarious. Like, awesome. It's not his dominant arm, so, like, it's not.
That makes
always
so
his
much
first
sense.
move.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, so I was laughing pretty hard at that. Did you catch the credit scene? Because some people I know did not.
No.
In the credit scene, we do get John Walker making his own shield. Yeah.
Oh, hey, I knew it.
Yeah.
With the Constitution on the back, do it.
We'll see if he does that. He doesn't seem like he seems less Nuke-y in this, whereas. Nuke is like, yeah, America, I'm doing everything,
Yeah.
And John always felt a little like that, but this John doesn't feel like that. This John doesn't feel like the Constitution. The way that he yelled at the senators and
okay, that makes, but that does seem like the John I know. The John I know from the comics would yell at these senators.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
Yes, but see, not in this way. Like, he would be, I don't know.
I can see it going either way.
Yeah.
I can see him becoming very...
I don't think they're going to do the Constitution thing.
Which, the thing is, like, if they do it this way, it could lead to a lot of cool satire they can do with John Walker.
Yeah. And they also cast him aside. In the comic, they like, hey, you can't be Captain America anymore, but we have something for you.
You can do this and do dirt.
Yes. So here, they just casted him aside, and then
But why make the shield in the first place?
Well, he's just... because he keeps saying, like, I'm Captain America.
That's what I'm saying.
You don't know what it takes to be Captain America.
That's why he would put the Constitution on the back, because he wants to remake America.
That'll be just for the fans.
He wants to make America great again.
It's interesting that but he wouldn't have if he felt that way, Lamar wouldn't be his sidekick, it wouldn't be his buddy. So I liked a lot of the source or a lot of the material of this episode, but man, I was not a fan of the pacing.
It was weird.
And this is the first one that I felt it in. The other ones, and
go back and rewatch it, dude. Because I noticed it in the 4th episode. I was like, what is going on here? Like,
yeah, somebody else brought it up to me before I watched episode 5, and I did not notice it.
I really think I'm gonna look up the person who's like, do you know what you're doing? Yeah. Like, because it's distracting now.
It is. This one was definitely distracting. Like, it felt like it was wrapping up.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh wait, we still have one more episode. Oh yeah, we still have the Flag Smashers. Like, we still have stuff to do.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. This was my least favorite episode of I liked this episode less than the first 2 episodes of WandaVision.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think this had some of the coolest scenes in the series.
It did. But the pacing and the editing,
I would say, like, as a whole, I'm with you.
Yeah, pulled me out of it. Pulled me out of it. I liked that there's a lot, the threads that I broke down here. There was a lot of interesting threads in this episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it needs to be. I hope that this episode 6 ends strong. I'll be very excited for.
Because if it ended with this, I think we'd all be like, it was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you could have easily ended with this.
You could have. Yeah. There is because like I all but forgot about the flag smashers.
I did too in the boat.
Yeah. No. I can't forget about the boat. It haunts my dreams, this damn boat. All right? The Jenny. All right? Kids, that is our show. If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Click the like button as well. Let us know what you thought of the shows. Did you think the pacing was weird? Do you care about this boat? I want to, but I just don't. Eric, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
I just got to say, talking about pacing and macing and cultural diversity. I think I want my Asians at Atlas movie. All right, that's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
Pace it out though.
If they don't put that joke in an Agents of Atlas movie, like I feel it will
because
be
we're getting the Falcon with the, he's Asian, right? The one that Sam gave the wings to.
No, I think he's Hispanic.
Oh, is he?
I think he's Taurus.
That's not going to work. That's a Chinese name, right?
No, it is not. Kids, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for listening. I have been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Erik Icarus.
And we will catch you on the next podcast.